Bonsoir tout le monde. Hello, good evening. Thank you for joining this Zoom web video conference on Paradism. Maybe you've heard about us today on the street or through Facebook or on the internet, many ways possible. So welcome, and I hope you really enjoy this enlightened and very positive aspect of a future world, a possible future world for all of humanity. So Paradism, for those who are here for the first time, is a world without work or money, imagine. So that is paradise for any human being. So let me explain just a bit how we're going to go through this evening. So I will introduce you to our guest speaker, Mr. André Julien. And then André will address us about the progress of science and the dream of Paradism, how it can take place. He will then run a video, and then we will talk about the social and political aspect of such a way of running the humanity, the world as a global entity and not just few different countries. So let me tell you more about André Julien. André is the president of the Movement for Paradism here in Canada. He detains a bachelor and a master's degree in mechanical engineering and aerospace. André has over 35 years of experience in research and development. So he has very good knowledge about science, technology, and the possibilities ahead of us. So without further ado, let's welcome André Julien.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Jose, for this warm welcome. It's a pleasure to be with you tonight and entertain you with a wonderful new system, which is Paradism. You know, this Paradism comes from an idea from Rael, the spiritual leader of the Raelian movement. And it's about using technology, science, robots, computers, nanotechnology to eventually replace all work and free people from the obligation to work to survive, to earn money, and eventually get rid of money. The science is there already. So just before I get to talk more about all these aspects and the scientific aspect, I want to present you a short video just as an introduction to the subject. This world is possible. It depends on us. You know, the science is there. You know, you may not realize that companies nowadays, large corporations, they're putting automatization everywhere. They're laying off workers, and it's good because now they can produce goods with less and less manpower. The problem is they down these people to society without revenue unless they retire. Then they have a little pension. But when it's somebody who will be working a few years, they have to go find another job. And what is he live on? So the problem is it's happening very fast because scientific and technological progress is exponential. And what does exponential mean? I want to show you some example by Moore's law. It means accelerating faster and faster. So we will have a little graph called Moore's law, which is showing how microprocessor transistor count evolved from 1971 to 2011. Okay, this one, yes. So you can see on the vertical scale, it's a transistor count. You know, the first computer were done with a little tube we call vacuum tubes. And they were very big. It took like a big house to do what a tiny computer would do. And after that, the transistor was invented. We could do what a big tube like that would do in about the end of your fingernail. And then they start to do computers. The first few ones in 71 had about 2,300 transistors. So if we look at today, if you look at the vertical scale, it's what we call a logarithmic scale in mathematics, means it's exponential. Every time it's multiplied by 10. So 10,000, 100,000, 1 million, 10 million, 100 million. So you can see it goes very fast. It's not a linear scale. It's not 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. No, it multiplies by 10 every time. So you could see the progress of computer from 1971 to 2011. It starts from 2,200 equivalent transistor to 2.3 billion or 2.6 billion nowadays. So this is what we call logarithmic or exponential progress. And it makes it such that now the big company of computers, they're working on computers that can mimic the human brain, that can as many equivalent neurons and connections between the neurons, but done at the speed of computers without any errors, unlike humans. So very soon we will have computers that can mimic what we do. They will be able to ask themselves questions, discover things. They will be able to find, oh, this doesn't give a rational solution, so let's try something else. So they will mimic really the scientific part of the human brain, if you like. So this progress makes today's robotics very powerful, artificial intelligence very powerful. That's why we have robots that can assemble anything much better than human. So if we go to the next chart, this exponential progress is happening not only in transistors or computers, but it's happening in all major science. So you can see this is an example of the exponential curve. So it's like at the beginning, it looked like it's happening very slowly. That was our past. In the past, it was like that. Things was happening slowly. But eventually, it started to go very, very fast, very steep. I would say today we're on what I call the curve, the knee of it. So we're going to start to go very fast, rapidly. So it's the case in computers we just saw with the Moore's law, but it's the same with DNA sequencing. A few years ago, it was costing millions of dollars to sequence one DNA, if not billions, the first one. And then eventually, it got faster. They find technology allowed to do it quicker with computers and all this, automatize a bunch of stuff. And today, you can have it done for a few $100s, if I'm mistaken, or $1,000. And it's going to get cheaper. So this opens a new field for curing a disease, for instance, especially genetic disease, genetic defects. It's the same with communication. We know with cell phones, internet, Now we can have Wi-Fi pretty much everywhere. Miniaturization, everything becomes smaller and smaller, which allow to make bigger things in small packets. Inventions, there's more patents or even inventions which are not patented, more and more every day. So everything is exponential. So that would lead us to what we call singularity. What is singularity? Is when all the science will converge together, we will have networks of computers, each one more powerful than a human brain, that will talk to all the thousands, if not millions of other computers, and they will be able to discover everything we ask them to do. They will be able to take care of everything we want them to do, take care of all the organization, distribution of energy, of food, of everything, much better than us. So it will free us from all the work, but we can already put in place some aspect of Paradism. I will come back to that later on. But before I go much into this, I would like to present you a video about 15 minutes. We'll show you many aspects of it. How can we make a world where we use machine and technology to free men and women from the obligation to work, to get rid of money eventually, and share the resource of this planet, not for a few selected few, very rich and powerful, but to everyone. So let's see this video.
We are at a crossroad. It is time for a change and a rethinking of our decaying social structure. We need a new model of society if we want humanity to survive. Paradism. Paradism is about creating a new society without work. Why ask for more jobs when what we really want is more time, more freedom, and more fun? Most of the work, and soon all of the work human beings do, can be done better, faster, and at a far lesser cost by machines and robots. Robots already produce cars worldwide with very little human labor. It could soon be completely automated. The same is also true for food. Vegetables produced on farms will be harvested by robots, with the technology that already exists. Robotized trucks can then deliver the produce directly to consumers who will select what they want online. Services are all becoming automated. ATMs, online shopping, directory assistants are just a few examples. Even surgical robots are already performing tasks more precisely than human surgeons can. Paradism is about creating a society without money. As all human needs are progressively handled by computers and robots, and all products are made abundant, there will be no need for money. Machines that can manufacture any object of any shape are already in existence. Today, these machines could provide everyone with all the necessities and luxury items in almost no time at almost no cost. Soon everything, from a spanner to a sports car, can be made on demand, on location, and for free. Paradism will not let the technology benefit just a small group of people. The resources, the knowledge, and the technology will not be owned by private interests. They will belong to the whole community. The machines and robots won't need to be paid for their work and the resources they need. Everything they do, everything they produce, can be free. Paradism will make the development of nanotechnology one of its highest priorities. Nanoreplicators or nanobots will be designed to assemble anything, atom by atom. Using the materials they extract directly from the ground, they will be able to replicate any object, including our food, and make dishes to the recipes of our choice. At our request, food will be synthesized to our desired tastes and textures. It will be an exact or enhanced copy of its natural equivalent. Farmlands will then return to their natural states or be developed at our own leisure. Why trying desperately to keep or create jobs to justify a salary that is just barely enough for one to survive, when we could give all the jobs to a multitude of robots programmed to serve us and give us a higher quality of life? Paradism is about creating a society without pollution. Fighting pollution is of little interest in our current economic system, where maximizing profit prevails in every decision. It only becomes a concern when it is already too late. The health and well-being of the people and all life forms is the highest, if not the only priority of Paradism. Resources will primarily go towards repairing the earth and keeping it safe and clean for all life. It implies an immediate, unilateral and complete demilitarization, along with the dismantling and banning of all weapons designed to kill or injure human beings. To achieve sustainability, Paradism will first need to strictly monitor the population growth and keep it at levels for which our resources and technology can guarantee the well-being for everyone, including those of future generations. To avoid ending up living on mountains of waste, everything will need to be recyclable and ultimately biodegradable. Biotechnologies must be developed to provide all the biologically engineered components or materials that are required by a manufacturing industry. They will make products that will quickly disintegrate after usage via the recycling process of nature. Everything could be made biologically, or could at least be biologically assimilated. Paradism is about creating a society without disease. Everyone should be given the best medical treatment available free of charge. Every life is as precious as any other. All those pursuing scientific research will do it as a hobby and not a job. They will be motivated by their own passion or by their desire to contribute to humanity and the betterment of society. The scientists, but also the artists, and all those who contribute to improve the health, the well-being, and the happiness of the people will be recognized for their achievements. They will be praised as heroes of our time. Scientists in all domains, but especially in medicine, will receive all the resources and training they request. All newly discovered drugs or treatments will be made available to everyone for free. Stem cell research, which holds the promise of regenerating damaged tissues and organs, will be strongly encouraged. When successful, all defects or injuries, whether they arise through disease, genetics, or by accident, could be corrected and prevented. Aging could be stopped and reversed. And when we will be able to overcome death scientifically, Paradism may well have led us to its final destination, creating a true paradise on Earth. Paradism is about creating a society without government. The monetary and political systems have reached the end of the road and are both collapsing at the same time. It will result in the creation of a worldwide currency and a world government. That is the remedy for all the financial crisis and the necessary transition towards a world without money and government. The future world government will not rule or govern the people. We should rather call it a world administration. It will administrate, looking after the supply of money, the energy, the resources, etc. It will administrate the earth, but not govern the people. In paradise, there are no countries because there are no frontiers. There are no jails because there is no police. There are no politicians because there is no government. A human being cannot be made a slave, a subject, or be turned into a sheep. It is a crime against humanity. A human being cannot be ruled or governed by anyone else but him or herself. A human being is the master of their own life, the creator of their own destiny. The ability to organize ourselves in a harmonious society doesn't result from the existence of government. As a matter of fact, history is crammed with intense conflictual relationships between the people and their government. Human beings aspire to be free, and it is their inherent nature to rebel against any form of authority that tries to control and conform them. To sustain the harmony and cohesion of the society, we will need to abandon the idea to subjugate people. No authority can take away anyone's responsibility to decide for themselves and assume all the consequences. Large societies in the animal kingdom work perfectly without governments. In the ant society, there is a queen, but she has no power. She has been given the wrong name. Her only function is to lay eggs all day long. There is no power struggle within the ant society because there is no position of power. There is no government, no law, no police. Everyone operates freely. This is a marvelous example of cooperation. When an ant carries a heavy weight towards the nest, two others come to help. While keeping their freedom to move around and do what they want, they contribute freely to the well-being of the whole and benefit from the community without compromising any of their individual freedoms. It is in the nature of ants to cooperate and care for each other. The ants just follow their natural inclinations. They don't need a government. They don't need laws to regulate them to get things done. They don't have anything but the natural law, the law that is set by nature, which regulates the life of all beings. Human beings, too, are meant to live in a society and are therefore all born with this natural inclination to cooperate, to care for each other, to love and be loved. When needed, they would voluntarily work together. They will not work in a chaotic and disorganized manner, but they will work under the leadership of those who would have risen to the occasion. The leaders lead without any authority or power over the people. They are recognized for their valuable guidance and are able to inspire others to participate willingly. Whenever there is a government or an authority in charge, they need to enforce their decision onto the people, and therefore will always strive to turn people into compliant sheep. A government needs a power structure, an army, a police, as it cannot operate without enforcement, and it makes more and more laws to exert more control over the people. In Paradism, there is leadership but no power structure, because there is nothing to enforce. Everything is being done on a voluntary basis. Whenever there is authority and power, there is friction and resistance. It takes away people's responsibility and prevents them from operating with the natural law. As a result, it creates more chaos by disrupting the natural order that would have taken place. Paradism is about creating a society of leisure, a paradise on earth. Paradism will not let people without work get bored and do nothing. It will create a multitude of activities that support the happiness and blossoming of the individual and the society as a whole. Leisure activities will be more developed and made available for free. People want to have fun and play. Sports fields and amusement parks will mushroom everywhere. Education will be free, and those who desire to do scientific research and those who seek to improve our quality of life through their inventions will be encouraged and supported. People will have the time and the resources to do any form of art. Artists will create for us an environment each time more beautiful and stimulating. Art pieces will be appreciated for their true value, as there will be no money. Artists will offer their creations to their friends or their community out of love. Transport will be free, allowing everyone to travel to meet others and discover the wonders of the planet they live in. People will be encouraged to grow spiritually in the direction of their choosing, so as to increase their level of happiness and harmony. When one is happy and in harmony, one contributes positively to the well-being of the whole society. People will spend their time in what they enjoy the most, connecting with people, dancing, partying, and making love. As intended by the natural law, in sexuality, like in other domains, nothing will be imposed on people. They won't have to conform to a set of rules or behaviors. As long as one respects other people's freedom and choices, they can freely express their potential and uniqueness to live the life they aspire to. The forces that are guiding us to free ourselves and create a paradise on earth are unstoppable. They are deeply rooted in our collective subconscious. It is what our technological progress has been leading us to right from the start. Paradise is inevitable. Let us not delay any longer by trying to fix the old system. The time has come to embrace Paradism as our new model of society.
Hi again, everyone. Can you hear me well? There's a lot of information in this video, lots of beautiful dream, but lots of reality. It can be tomorrow's reality if we really want it. The current system we're having now is collapsing. Why? It was easily predictable by many brilliant people could see this coming as technology progress exponentially, as we saw before. The company can make products with machines faster, with less error, better quality, so they lay off people. They dump it to the social system. And that's happening more and more. So the big country, the rich country, are in debt, and they're having more and more people lay off, and they don't know how to solve the problem, because the people are those who pay the tax. So, and the big corporation almost pay no tax. The big bank don't pay tax much. So the system is due to collapse. It survived longer than it should have, probably because the population growth made it such there was a lot of new people making demand for product. But we cannot keep sustaining the growth of population. Now we need to level off population. We're 7 billion, 7.5 billion people. We cannot be 20 billion or 100 billion on Earth. We have to stabilize. So then we need to also have a system, a political system, a social system, which is sustainable. And when a civilization reach the scientific age, the only viable system, the only sustainable system is a system like Paradism, where you need to share the wealth among everyone. Otherwise, you create big tension. If you have very rich people, very poor people, you create aggressiveness, you create wars, and then it becomes unstable. And when you reach very high technology, you may self-destroy with nuclear weapons, biological weapons, all kind of stupid weapons. So the solution is a sharing system. It's change the value of competition and greed to love, sharing, fraternity, and altruism. That's the only way that we can survive as a species. So how to get there? That's a big question. How can we get there? Well, how can we fund this? First, we will need to accelerate even more the production of robots, machine, nanotechnology, do more research on that, to eventually free all people from the obligation to work for survival. Let especially all the basic product, the essential product. Right away, we have enough food to feed everyone on the planet. But the way we're organized in countries and selfishness, we prefer not do it, waste food in the rich country and let them starve. This is totally stupid. It cannot sustain like that very long. So we need to share. So bring food to everybody, have a shelter for everyone, a decent shelter, decent sanitary conditions, toilets and things like that, water to take a shower. This is very basic need. The priority would be to bring that all over the planet. And we already have also the technology Wi-Fi for internet. We can bring Wi-Fi to all the countries, poor countries in Africa, in India, wherever, and make available computers for all. And this would ensure then you would have free education, because now on internet, you can have courses from the best teachers on the planet in every language you want, on any subject you want, free. We already have this technology. We don't need robots for that. Of course, more robots would help produce goods, but we can already provide free education to everyone if we have the will. Well, who will pay for that? Do you know how much we spend on military each year on this planet? $1.8 trillion. 1.8 trillion. So 1.8 trillion is 1.8 millions of millions. Or if you prefer, $1,800 billion. This is a lot of money. Imagine we can feed everyone with that. We can equip an internet, free everyone on that. We can build computers to provide everyone with this. It's possible. We need to change the system. Now we have large corporations running the world, and they pay very little tax. The banks, the big company who make the cars, the airplanes, they pay very little tax. And if a country threatens to raise the tax on them, they say, okay, I will close my plant and I will build it somewhere else. So we need to get together in a new world government, not the UN, because UN is a puppet of the rich and powerful multinational, and the bankers. So we need to create laws that every big corporation will pay its due in tax to help take care of the workers they need to let go, because robots will do it. So it's okay that they automatize things, that they use science to make things cheaper. But the problem is, don't dump these people on the social system that you don't pay tax for. You have to be responsible to take care of the lives of these people. So we need to change that. We need to nationalize banks. Each big country, rich country, has huge debt that they owe to banks who print money based on nothing. And we pay percentage of that. And we need to get rid of that. We need to change that. They have done that in Iceland, by the way. They refused to pay the debt. They threw the government out. They threw the bankers out. It's very kept secret by the mainstream media. They don't want you to know. But thanks to the internet, we know, and we can spread this. We need to nationalize all the basic product like food, essential product, electricity. In Quebec, we have that already. But even then, they charge us more electricity for the citizens, and they put very low rate to the big corporations. No, we need to change that. So we need to accelerate automatization everywhere to free men from work, so reduce the work week gradually. Eventually, we will have nothing else to do than enjoy ourselves, but it will be a gradual system. The most important is take care of the basic need of everyone in every country. So Paradism is a system to put in place worldwide. Of course, we'll probably start in a few countries, and other countries will look at these countries, hey, they do much better there. Why don't we do like them? And eventually it can spread very quickly around the world. It's possible if we really want it. There's another source of money is now we tax heavily the middle class. Right? The big corporations pay very little tax. The very rich people also have all kinds of tax evasions. But the average people, the workers, they pay big tax taken at the source, so you cannot get away with it. But why don't we change the system and make the dead pay? So as long as you're alive, you can make companies make billions of dollars if you want. But when you die, your children, they can have a house, a car, and things like that. But they don't inherit the big multinational. You have the shares, the billion-dollar shares. You give that to the state, and then the state can use it to take care of everyone. They can sell it back to other people who want to take care of it, run it. That's what we need. We need sharing. We need to change the greed and competition to sharing, love, altruism. Again, it's always come that that's the only system that is sustainable in the technological age we are in. If we don't do that, we're going to go towards self-destruction because inequality will force aggressiveness. We see it today. We can change it. I will almost conclude with this subject is the science is progressing and nobody can stop it. Technology will be there. Singularity, I said before, will be there around 2035. And you may not be aware of it, but the companies are planning to push you out because they're having machine robots do the job for you. So we need to change the social system. Are you ready to be in vacation 365 days in a year? Are you ready? What would you do? Start thinking about that. Start the dream inside you. Because everything in the world, every invention started with a dream. The first car, the first airplane, the first cell phone. Somebody thought, hey, one day, why don't we try that? And then the telephone started with a wire, and then we find a way to do it with waves. It's possible. You have to dream it first. So Paradism, it looked like utopia, but utopia of today is reality of tomorrow. Like 150 years ago, nobody could believe we would fly to Europe in 6 hours. Nobody thought would understand. I could speak from someone at the other side of the planet in China and see her face and chat with her and speak to that person. It was unthinkable at the time. But now, with the science we have today, we can see that automatization is on its way. We can replace all the jobs. But then we need the social system to go with it. That's what Paradism is all about. We need love. We need to love each other. So many great teachers said that in the past. Jesus was saying, love each other. And the Christians, what they do today, they make wars. They forgot the most important thing in the Jesus teaching. So this is our survival. So what can you do? If you're interested, what can you do? Well, the first thing is make it known around you. Make it known, because the politician won't talk about it. The main media, they're owned by the rich and powerful. They won't talk about it. The internet will talk about it. So talk about it around you. Talk about it on the internet. Share Paradism website. There's many websites on Facebook. Maybe we can show also the picture of later on of our Facebook page in Canada. Make it known. Talk about it around you. First, start thinking about it yourself, especially the young people. What would you do if you wouldn't have to work for money? What would be your dreams? What would you like to do for society? What would be your contribution? Not to make money, to just be happy to help others. We can solve all these problems with science. We have reached this age now, the golden age, the Paradism age. It's up to us. So let it known. And one day maybe we will have the critical mass that we need, such that we will have natural leaders will come out, create political parties, and get elected. And one day it can happen. You know, nobody saw, it can happen very quickly. Nobody saw the Soviet Union with Gorbachev suddenly within 5 years break down completely and become a democracy. Of course, it didn't solve the problem overnight, but it was no longer the USSR threatening the world. We can change. Who saw that when Martin Luther King was killed in the 60s, he was a natural leader because he was not elected. He was just a common sense guy with love, altruism, and people was following him. Who would have said that 40 years after that, the US would have elected a black president? So it's possible. Now we have millionaires in the US, millionaires in sport, in arts. They didn't have this chance 50 years ago. So it's possible. Everything can be changed if we really want it. And the few multi-rich and powerful who control this world, they cannot stop us if we really want it. So we need to do a revolution. We need to go in the street. We need to support those who go in the direction of Paradism, whether they call it Paradism or something else. All those who are more for sharing, equality, using machines to replace man, free people. The real leaders are those who want to free you, not the ones who try to enslave you. So follow those who want to free you. So I will conclude on that. It was a wonderful time with you. And now we'll go to a question period. If you have questions, we can accept a question in English or French. It will be my pleasure to try answer them. Thank you very much.
Merci beaucoup, André. Thanks so much. This was very inspiring text, very motivating. We all aspire for a better world, and this is a solution that is so realistic, so feasible. So I'm opening the floor. If anybody has a question, you can click on participant at the bottom of your screen, and there's a raise hand option, or you can type your question in the chat box. So we're open to any question. André will be more than happy to answer them. Feel comfortable. En français, en anglais, we're totally bilingual. No question, no, everything's very clear to you all.
José, Maribel avait une question qu'elle avait mise dans le chat.
Ah, question de ah oui, d'après toi, André. So for you, André, what is your opinion on basic income? We see more and more articles about sorry, there's another question as well below. So the one about the article on internet that is becoming very popular, like a minimum wage imposed for everyone so they can live with basic income and be comfortable with it. So that's one aspect of the question. André, what do you think of that, basic income, and how do you see that becoming a reality?
Thank you, my love. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So, well, basic income is a wonderful beginning. It's happening already. I think in Finland and Netherlands, they're trying to put that in place. In Quebec, here we have what we call bien-être social, which is kind of, it's very low though. So it's kind of minimum survival. We need to muscle it up such it's a bit more wonderful. The problem with this, it's only possible in very rich country, and it's paid by the rest of the population who have a job and pay income tax. So it's on the way to Paradism, but the thing is we need to do that for everyone and free everybody from work. So this will come only from more widespread use of technology and science in all kinds, nanotechnology in particular. They will talk a bit about in the video, little nanobots that will be able to bring in health science, bring the cure directly to the cells that need it in your body, or build a house. You know, imagine trillions of nanobots reproducing themselves and having a program to know how to build a house that you want in the shape you want. You know, it could be a house in the form of a tree. You know, this is one of my dreams, to have a living house. But it will be possible, all these things. The thing is, though, I forgot the question, is the basic income. Okay, sorry. So basic income, yes, it's a start, but the problem it's paid by those who work. So we need to solve the problem of society is how we can get everybody on basic income and nobody work. And the other thing, it's only true even today for very rich countries like Western Europe, North America, but Africa, India, they cannot afford that. So it doesn't solve the problem for 70% of the planet. So yes, it's a start in the rich country, and hopefully it will help. I think it's all good, and I certainly hope that I think at least the right mentality. It's on the path to Paradism. So we definitely need to encourage that, and because it will encourage other ideas, and it's a kind of a thing that now it's the people who wants it. It's so basic, so fundamental, making sure nobody starves to death in rich countries. But we'll need to push it further to say, well, what about Africa? What about India? Them too, they shouldn't start to death. And you know, when I said earlier, $1.8 trillion every year spent on military. What a crazy bunch of people on Earth that rule the Earth. But we can change it. I don't know if it answers the question.
I think it does. Thank you, André, for that answer. Does anyone else has a question for André in either language? I have one, so if you may allow me. André, you were talking about supercomputers and where they can bring us. I'm just wondering, like, who controls these computers right now in the world in 2016? Is it private corporation, and like what's their influence? I guess government again has a big influence on them, but I know if I think of Tesla or some like who have very futuristic potential for humankind, who has the control on these supracomputers and all this technology?
Well, actually, supercomputers, there's two kinds of ways you can do with supercomputers. there's big computers located in one place, and all the government of rich countries, if not all countries, have big computers, supercomputers. Some they make it available for industry, for instance, for research and things like that, for universities. And the big corporation also have big supercomputers. But what's even more interesting, I think, is a network of thousands or millions of computers in itself is like a supercomputer. And what's happening is, we saw with Moore's law, is the laptops of everyone, the computer gets more powerful every year. And one day, soon, maybe in 5 or 10 years, I don't know exactly, the laptop you will buy for a few $100s, assuming today's price, will be more powerful than a human brain. So imagine you connect all of these together. And then that's the hardware, but there's also the software. You will have software that will allow the computers to think like a human brain in terms of at least the scientific way. You know, you may not give emotions to computer, you may not give consciousness, but it will be able to have the ability to think rationally, ask questions, think, find by itself, learn. Will be able to learn, look at data, try hypotheses. It doesn't work until it finds one that works. And it will do this much faster than you. And imagine when it's a network like that. So now computers is owned by all kinds of people, but more and more powerful computers are owned by people. And now we have a freeware, shareware, open source, where geniuses, they put software available for free for everyone. So when we will have available fast computers and then software that can mimic human brain, we will have to insist as a society, we want this available to everyone for the good of everyone. No, of course, there will need to be some order. That's why we will need what we call geniocracy. That is, we will need to have genius leaders, altruistic geniuses who will take care of organizing that part of society to put in place Paradism. So geniocracy actually is using the best mind we have on earth to help put in place Paradism. So there will be the computer system, there will be the automatization, nanotechnology. So there will be kind of guides for humanity. And until we don't need any laws, we don't need any policemen. When we feed everyone, we give basic to everyone, violence will go down. We will have meditations, we'll teach people how to be happy. So we need to follow guides for that. We need to follow natural leaders who cares for what? Their pleasure is seeing other people happy. These are the true leaders, those who free you, not those who enslave you. So I'm not sure I answer your question, but supercomputers now, they're big machines owned by government, big companies, but there's also the IBM of this world, the Hewlett-Packard, the big computer company. They're working on the next generation of computers, and eventually will be made available for everyone.
Thank you. Merci beaucoup. Thanks so much, André. It did answer my question. Does anybody else have any question for André? Please feel free. Don't be shy. There's no stupid question. They're all interesting and intriguing to one or another. So either you put it in the chat box or just raise your hand. And I remind you in the meantime that you can check Paradism. There's a Facebook page. So if you just type that word in your Facebook or online, paradism.org, you can find so much more information about this fantastic project. So I invite you to do so. So if this is it, nobody has any question, I guess we're going to conclude this meeting right now. So thanks so much, guys, for joining in. And thank you, André, for your prestation. It was very inspiring and interesting.